Hello, everybody. Eddie's going to turn down that music. Man, it is popping loud. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday. Eddie, please take down that music. I can't even hear myself think. My God. That was so loud. Okay, first things first. I read the comment section of my last live stream, and I want to put it out there that a lot of people don't like the fact that I tend to have a smile and laugh about some of the things that happen in real estate. And it's not because I'm laughing at people that can't afford a house or anything like that. We're having a conversation is between people. And a lot of times, like when people say something like so off that you end up laughing because you're like, that is so ridiculous. And you laugh. I'm a positive person. I like to like make things fun as much as possible. I'm not laughing at the situation that many people are in. Matter of fact, I do as much as I can to educate people of what's going on in this market right now. I'm not making fun of you. I'm sorry that you find my personality offensive because I laugh about certain things that are said that are so absolutely freaking ridiculous. Because some of what these corporations do and what they say and how they're quoted, it's not that I'm laughing like, oh, ha ha ha, this is so funny. I'm laughing because it's just absolute nonsense. So anyways, that's just me. It's my personality. I'm a laughy, smiley. Let's just make a joke out of it because either you laugh or you cry. So I'd much rather laugh than cry. So with that out of the way, we are going to be talking about the housing market. We're going to be talking about what is inventory. So according to Zillow, going to be back to normal. Like, when are we going to see these normal market numbers again? Because, honestly, to tell you the truth, if you've been listening to like one article will say, oh, our inventory is going to be, going down 21% as far as cost by the end of summer, which I don't know where they got that freaking number from. Then you got Zillow over here saying, oh, we have numbers that we're seeing that we're not going to have levels back to normal until this part. Then we have it's just nonsense. But to sort it all out with me, we are in the face of Realty today. We have a very, very special guest. We have the one, the only, duly knighted in real estate, Sir Ashley.
There you go. You've been knighted.
Oh, good. Yeah, but I don't get that cool name. That is a birth name. That is on a certificate.
It is a birth name. Yes.
Man, your mom did the right thing because I want a name like that.
Thank you, Mom.
See, I'm laughing. See, oh my gosh, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Sorry, I just couldn't believe how many people were like, that laughing is so annoying. I'm like, whew, well, that's just me. I'm just a laughy kind of girl. All right, so look, there is this article that came out by Zillow, but Yahoo News came out and said something completely different. But anyways, let's go ahead and pull this up. But I really kind of feel like Yahoo News is kind of like the National Enquirer of real estate news. So anyways, experts predict that at least 2 more years before housing inventory climbs to pre-pandemic levels. The housing market is expected to return to pre-pandemic 2019 norms, at least in terms of inventory and the share of purchases made by first-time home buyers by 2024, according to a panel of housing market experts polled in the latest Zillow Home Price Expectation Survey. The dwindling supply of homes for sale have been approximately caused by the recent explosion in the U.S. housing values, which have risen 32% in the past 2 years. Total inventory has fallen for a month average of 1.6 million units in 2018 and 2019 to 1 million in 2021. The monthly figures in 2022 are still lower. In this survey, experts were asked what year they expect to see inventory return to at least monthly averages of 1.5 million units. The most optimistic 4% answered in 2022, and further 37% answered at 2023. The most frequent answered at 38 of respondents of 2024, meaning a cumulative 79% of correspondents expect the such restoration of inventory sometime between the now and then of 2024. So they have this whole chart here. What, in my gut feeling, before this, like everything was playing out, I felt that at the end, I'm talking like when the pandemic started and they did these, these extensions for your forbearance and all this stuff. I was like, oh, well, this can't last forever once the forbearance is done. By the end of 2022 or 2021, we're gonna see home prices start to tank because like at some point, the game's over. But then they kept doing the forbearance and they stretched that out and people were able to keep their homes, which was a good thing. Bad thing if you're looking for a home, but a good thing for people to keep their home. Um, then I was like, okay, well, interest rates are going to go up. And so we had this whole like live stream at the beginning of the year, Sir Ashley, and they had
Yes.
I polled everybody. I said, "What do you think the interest rates are going to end at this year? What do you think we're going to end at?" And they were like, I had said I was the highest one. At that time I said 4.75, and they were like, "No way, maybe 4%, maybe." And I was like, "Oh no, no, no."
I thought 4.9. I was off too, obviously. I was
Yeah.
at 4.9, 4.8, 4.9. I think I put a video out like December 31st,
Yes.
telling about what I expected for the coming year, and that was one of my predictions. And I mean, we met it.
Yeah. But it's not the end of the year.
It's not the end of the year.
I mean, like, as this goes
Yeah.
along, because they are increasing them very, very quickly right now.
Yeah.
What at the end now that we know what we know now, this is just us guessing. Don't hold our feet to the fire. We're guessing with what the information we have now. What do you think? What do you think is going to be
based on what I've been reading, I think we're going to be closer to 6. So at 4.7 is going to be more like 5.7, 5.8. And reason why I say that is they've already about 8 Fed presidents have already said that the next meeting they're going to do a 50 basis point hike, and they're telegraphing that probably for the next 2 is going to be a 50 basis point hike. So that's a whole point right there. So it's gonna get very, very interesting with interest rates.
Right. So with that, because interest rates are going up, that does take a large pool of people that would be normally buying a house, right?
Yep.
So with this predictions that Zillow has that saying that supplies will go back to normal by the end of 2024, do you think that will be sped up, or do you still think they're right on the mark? Because there's going to be so many people that are going to be like, I can't do this now. The interest rates are too high and the home prices are too high. Do you think that's going to make the supply go up even quicker? Do you think it's going to take all the way till 2024?
I honestly think it's going to take to late 2024, maybe early 25 to get to where we need to be as far as inventory, for several reasons. But because, well, one, yes, the higher interest rate is going to knock out some buyer demand, right? So you're going to knock out some demand, but that still doesn't really do much about supply.
Okay.
Right. So my thing with supply is home builders. I would have thought, I did think that we would have been past this supply chain issue.
Everybody thought that. Even the builders thought that.
Yeah, I thought we would have been past that by now, but we've realized we're not. So I've talked to some of the home builders here in the Charlotte area, some of the bigger ones, and for the next 3 to 4 years, they're projecting 2 to 3 years. Sorry, they have about 20 to 25,000 units in the greater Charlotte area for new home construction, which is a good thing. It's welcome. But so while supply will increase because of new home construction, once we get things building at a normal pace again, what I believe we will continue to see is the resale home not go on to the market. Those people that the how am I supposed to say it? We're going to see an increase in new construction homes hitting the market as far as inventory, but a decrease in resale homes hitting the market. So there's going to be less supply for resale homes. That's what I foresee in the coming, I say.
So do you think that will hold home prices then? Because like builders won't, they're not going to reduce their price, you know?
Yeah.
And they're not going to do that because building supplies are so, so that wouldn't necessarily decrease prices too much.
I don't think, I'm with you. I don't see the prices decreasing too much. I don't see them going up as fast as they have been. 32% in the past 2 years is absolutely insane.
Right.
But I do see them leveling off like around 4 or 5%, just below inflation or right at inflation, and as far as
Okay.
home prices.
When are you gonna when do you think that's gonna be like people would really see that on paper? Like on home prices. Like in my area, I am finally starting to see if the house is a piece of junk. Like
Yeah.
there's a house that's in our area that's literally listed. It's $165,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody said, well, why has this been on the market for 87 days? And I'm like, well, let me go look because I didn't know there was a house that was on the market at that price point. Well, it's over 100 years old. It's only a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's not in the best school zone in the world. I'm like, okay, so finally people are going, okay, there are legitimate reasons I'm not going to buy this house even at $150, $165,000. Like it's a good house. They've remodeled it and everything else, but there's still factors that a home buyer is saying, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's not even cheap enough for an investor because even for a rental unit, it's not that great because it's not in the right school zone.
So what I've seen that similar scenario play out here in Charlotte. And actually, I've seen I just got an offer accepted 2 weeks ago with seller concessions, which you hadn't even heard of that in 2 years, 2.5 years. So what we ended up doing was giving them at full ask price, but then asked for around $12,000 in seller concessions. So my client doesn't have to come out of pocket for any closing costs or anything like that. So it is what's really going to determine how prices go is we are a want right now society. People that list their homes, if they do not get that offer right away, are they going to panic? Are they going to panic? Are they going to decrease their price?
Like they did before.
Are they going to decrease their price, or are they going to realize that a normal market, your house should not sell in a weekend? It shouldn't. It should take 30 to 45 days on the market. But we've been conditioned as a society, like, no, it's supposed to happen right now. And what will be a telling sign as far as this home, what happens as far as pricing, will be if resale sellers panic when they see their home on the market for 10 days or not. That's what I think as far as pricing.
Right. Well, which wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing. I mean, these people have gotten a lot of equity in their house. Yeah. So they do panic and drop it, another $10,000. That's really good for buyers, Yep. A little price reduction, some fair play, maybe closing costs. How about a home warranty? How about an
exactly something
period? That would be really good for some home buyers. I would
be
welcome all those things.
That would be welcome.
I don't think that's a panic thing. That's a like, oh, thank God you're reasonable again. You get off your high horses.
Another thing is the ones that are selling right now are sort of like FOMO sellers, to where they feel like they may have missed the whole all the buyers on the market because of the interest rates. So they're coming out like strong out of the gate, knowing that they're overpriced to begin with, because they're just trying to be very aggressive. So that's why I'm like, okay, we'll give you your price, but this is where it should be. That's why we're going to add. It's going to look good on paper, but we want this, we want this money back.
Well, that's kind of always the case with overpriced sellers. Yep. Anyway, they think they're sitting on a gold mine, and even though you're telling them like, look, here's the paperwork, your house is not worth this amount of money according to all the statistics and everything else. Yeah, granted, your neighbor down the street sold it for that, but they have a swimming pool, they have they have a 3-car garage, they have an RV park, they have all this. Your house doesn't. It doesn't even have granite countertops. And then like they're so insistent. So then you put it on the market, and then 10 days later, like, why isn't my house selling? Why is nobody looking at it? I'm like, you're overpriced.
You're overpriced.
And that's, I think a lot of that's going to start happening, which like we said, is not a bad thing. Like it is welcome as far as I'm concerned, because sometimes it got to the point where it was absolutely ridiculous. I had this young buyer, and all she wanted to do was get an inspection for her. She wanted an inspection for her knowledge only. But unless the repairs were over $30,000,
Yeah.
seller said no. They had no other offers, by the way. Seller said no.
That is insane.
And then the person was supposedly, I had my real estate license, but they didn't understand what was in the contract. They're like, why did you check this? And I'm like, because that's what the law says I have to. I mean, like, I hate when people say that. It's kind of like, I used to be a hairdresser years ago when somebody would come in and say, I used to cut hair. You're like, oh God, here we go. It's the same thing where I used to be a real estate agent. I'm like, well, you're not anymore for a reason. Believe it or not, those contracts change every single year, and you have to know what you're talking about. You could have sold houses. The contract is what makes the whole deal hold together. If you don't understand that, you know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. So look, Matt Daniel says, hi there in Louisiana. He says, question, how many Louisiana hobby or medium-sized farms have you sold? Historic properties are great to see. Keep it up. Great on the great show. Thank you. I did answer this in the chat earlier. I'm going to go ahead and answer it again. I have not sold any historic homes, but I have sold homes that are over 100 years old. They had no historical significance whatsoever. As far as like any kind of a farm over in the Amite River, I sold some small little farms that were over by the Amite, just 2 of them. There's nothing special about them. They got a land lease. Oh, I take that back. I did one in Sanama too. I did one on Sanama that had a land lease on it. But that, I mean, it's just another way of knowing a contract. That's it. And there, like, Sir Ashley, you'll say this as well. There isn't one deal on the planet that's exactly like the deal previous, is there?
No.
Not one.
Everything's unique. You're dealing with unique people, unique circumstances. Every property is unique. I say everything's negotiable. Nothing's the same.
Do you remember when the market was so bad that like buyers would come in and say, can we have your dining room set? Like, we'll take your house. We want $30,000 off. Well, we want your grill and all your patio furniture and your dining room set. And then we'll buy your house. And then, like, sometimes the sellers are so desperate. They're like, yeah, do you want one of my kids too? Because, like, this one's kind of a jerk,
I was like, I got one they can have.
Yeah.
I got one they can have. They can borrow. I have a 3-year-old right now who is giving us a run for our money. So yeah, if somebody wants to offer on our house and wants us to include the 3-year-old, just give her back when she's 5.
Yeah, well, they say it was terrible 2s, but I don't think it was 2s. I would really think it was terroristic 3s. They are awful, and they scream that high pitched shrill scream on the top of their lungs. Debbie says, "Smash the like button, y'all. Smash it." She also says hi there, Sir Ashley. You guys, if you have any questions, make sure you throw them in the chat, and we will answer them all the way. Miss CAM says, why would a broker ask for 3 years of taxes? My husband is a business owner, and we made sure 2 years of taxes were right to be able to buy a home outside of Philly. You're talking about a mortgage broker, right? If it's the mortgage broker, that's what they need as far as verifying income. I know that restrictions on purchasing a home have gotten a lot more stringent than they ever were in like 2008. Like, back then, all you got to do is come in with a phone bill and say, "Hey, I was going to say,
just breathe."
Yeah, I make $500,000 a year, no problem. And they were like, "All right, we'll sign you up." Do I need any documents? No, that's fine. The phone bill's fine. It's got your name on it.
Yeah.
But if that's what the broker needs, that's what the broker needs in order to get you qualified for a loan. It kind of stinks. But if that's what they need, that's what they need.
And it may depend on the type of loan you're getting. As a business owner or whatnot, you might have different qualifications for your loan, depending on what kind of loan it is.
Mm-hmm. Do you know they still do those interest-only loans? Do you know they still exist?
Yeah. I was actually talking to somebody. It was not to get too far off subject, but for an investment property, because I'm an investor as well, they're offering 40-year loans. 40-year loans,
Yes.
First 10-year fixed, but fixed 40-year loans, not an ARM or anything, but the
Mhm.
first 10 years are just interest.
Yes.
So I was like, huh, you mean for 10 years I can just cash flow it on interest? And so it was intriguing. I haven't pulled the trigger, but it was intriguing. Interest only loans, but it's a fixed loan at a rate. This is intriguing as an investor.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yes.
That 40-year package has they've done variations of the 40-year loan, even a 50-year loan, even a 60-year loan several times. And every time it's been a big giant failure. You know, like every time they try to like drip that out on the market, they try it, they test it, no go. And even like everybody, you know, is like, oh, what happened, you know, in 2007, that's blah, blah, blah. That loan, that interest only loan package was available, I think, since when Reagan got out of office. I mean, that thing had been around that loan product had been around forever. It wasn't until they like really sold it that they were like, people were like, you can just get it out there. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And even some of the lenders were like, should we be doing this? And their companies were like, yeah, do it. But that's why so many people got in trouble with predatory lending practices. Somebody I knew in Florida, he lost his license. He lost his yeah. And he was like, I was just doing what they said to do and I lost it. But they needed a fall guy and they used him. So he was an example.
So home buyers out there, because of the interest rates increasing, you'll see a lot of lenders coming to the market with all of these creative products right now. Just be cautious, be aware, know what you're getting into with their creative options, because they're trying to make it easier to swallow for a lot of home buyers, because the interest rates have increased. But just be aware and know exactly what you're getting into before you agree to some creative loan package, whether it's an ARM or interest only.
Don't talk to just one lender.
Oh yeah, no.
You should. The thing is, they're working for you, right? Granted, they're giving you money, but they're working for you as a consumer. So when you go and talk to somebody and you feel like they're either talking down to you or you're not understanding something, or they feel impatient, or they feel like they don't have time for you and you're bothering them, move on to somebody else.
Yeah.
There's somebody else out there that really wants to help you. And just because that person happens to be sitting there and you're very excited to buy a home, you don't want your experience to be ruined. And nothing, you know, everybody complains about the real estate agents, but lenders can be just as horrifying. You know, we could go through that whole entire.
Yes.
I've had this happen several times. I'm sure you have too.
Yes.
When you're calling a lender because you know something isn't right, you're calling them all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, we just need this 2 more papers," and oh yeah, and then I had one that said at the time of like we were 3 days away from closing, they hadn't verified her income.
Yeah.
What?
No,
how can you not verify your income? Like,
another public service announcement to home buyers out there. The past 2 to 3 years has been very lucrative for mortgage brokers and agents. And a lot of people have joined the industry. Some agents, yes. And people have joined the industry. Just because they're licensed or they are a mortgage broker or an agent, please vet them out. Doesn't mean like all of them aren't created equal. They may have just been involved in the past 2 years and don't know what they don't know, and could end up costing you or leaving you in a very unfortunate position. Yes. I was trying to keep it PG. Very unfortunate position. So just be careful, because a lot of people join the industry, and I've seen it recently where it gives mortgage brokers bad names because they don't know what they don't know, but they act like they know it all, but they've only been in for, a year and a half, 2 years.
Those who do, and those who can't usually teach it. But and Milton says, wouldn't selling your home put you in more risk of increasing rent prices? Yes. Home is like being on a boat, or in renting is like swimming in shark infested waters.
Yeah.
At this point in this market, yes. Milton, I don't know if you saw my last video that came out on Tuesday. So Ashley, did you see it? It happened to be about how some of the big corporations are
Mhm.
buying up a lot of houses in the biggest markets, one of them being
Yes, yes.
Atlanta, Austin, Texas. And what was really interesting when I was getting all the information, because that 60 Minutes our thing came out.
Mhm.
And so I started looking up the actual companies that are buying the most homes in the United States, the biggest ones. And all these companies, if you look to see who was sitting on the board, there was one name that kept popping up
Yeah.
on most of them, and that was Blackstone. Every single one of them had a board member from Blackstone. They own a lot of real estate under a lot of different companies' names, a lot. And if it isn't them, it's BlackRock, and they're
Yeah.
not the same company. They're like evil twin brothers. They do the same exact thing. They
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
They were a segment of Blackstone was a segment of BlackRock. They separated, they did their own thing, but they're doing the same exact thing, just with a different mask, basically.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's troubling what I see happening, and you've been ringing this alarm for months, if not a year now, that
Years,
they want,
years,
yeah, that they
2
want
years.
us to be a country of renters, and
Absolutely.
that's why I've been telling people to buy sooner than later, because as we saw, nobody predicted interest rates to go up this crazy amount, but it's for the average mortgage payment now, it's like what, $400 more now than it was at the beginning of the year, a month more. So I'm like, if you just had listened and got something last year.
Another thing that's an interesting thing is that, do you know that after the last crash, who bought the most foreclosure homes in the United States? I'll give you a hint.
No.
Blackstone.
Yeah, yeah,
They bought the most, and then
yeah.
right behind them, do you know who it was? BlackRock.
BlackRock.
They would buy
Yeah.
up, packages of foreclosed homes,
Yep.
and they that's what they did. They just bought them all up, and then people were like, "Oh, well, those were just they didn't really buy the house, they just bought the paper." Oh, no, 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 no. Au contraire, mon frère. They bought the
Yes.
house.
About the
And
house.
both it 2.5 years ago, I had Jeremy and I on here, and we were talking
Mhm.
about Austin, Texas, and I said, "Hey, did you know that in your market, that before the pandemic even started, that big, investment firms were coming in and going to these foreclosure auctions,
Yep.
and whoever was bidding in the room, they would always bid $1 more just to win the bid." They
Yep.
were doing this prior to the pandemic in
Yep.
Austin, Texas. And so, like, and everybody that they go, "Oh, that's not true. Oh,
Mm.
where's that article?" And I kept like quoting it. I kept pulling it up. No one believe me. And then all of a sudden, then I'm not crazy anymore. Now it's on 60 Minutes. So Kristina was right.
No,
And I'm
they've
like,
been
"No,
doing
I
that.
still know that. Nanny, nanny, boo boo. I want to do that so bad,
No, you need to see, the thing is, when you're right, I know it's not it's against your nature to pontificate and let everybody know, but
Mhm.
I feel like you need to, because the reverse would happen. Let's say the doomsdayers, if what they say come true, they're going to be talking about it every time they get on in front of a camera. Like, I told you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen. But no,
Mhm.
like, you need to take it, you just be as aggressive when you're right as well, because you let everybody know.
Yeah, I like being right. I hate being wrong, but I'm the first one to admit it. You know that too.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
when I'm
yes.
wrong, I'll flat out say, "Guess what? I was wrong, dude."
And I've seen that what you mentioned happened in Austin happens
Uh-huh.
here in Charlotte as well, to where they don't even come to the auction to bid.
Nope.
What they end up doing, North Carolina has an upset bid period for 10
Mhm.
days. So they let whoever, the local investors go bid at the courthouse, and then they just come in on the 8th or ninth day, put in an upset bid, and try to capture it that way. So yeah,
Nice.
it's that's how they
Yeah.
do it.
Ugh, so gross. Investors bought a record share of homes in 2021. See where? All right, Eddie, where is it? Explore the 40 metro areas. Last year, investors bought nearly 1 in 7 homes in America's top metropolitan areas, the most in at least 2 decades, according to Realty company Redfin. Those purchases came in time when would-be buyers across the country were seeing wildly escalating prices, raising the question of what impacts investors have on the pricing for everyone. Investors were even more aggressive in the final 3 months of the year, buying 15% of homes that sold in 40 markets. You know, they do they adjust for rent too. Like so Icon, or Tricon, made rents in Austin, Texas go up 35%. They set the market rate 35%.
That
It's
is
disgusting.
insane. I was
Yep.
I think it was my last live stream on my main channel where I mentioned about how rents in various areas of North Carolina has doubled. Like they've doubled them in the last 6 months. So it is disgusting.
Eddie, I don't know what we're looking at here, my love. You can unmute yourself if you want to tell me, what does this say? Oh, he said this is in Atlanta. This is where they bought the most homes. Look at that. Wow. See, it's just like Atlanta is one of their favorite markets. They kind of have pulled back from Austin. I think they've pretty much covered it.
Yep,
Now they're
yep.
in Phoenix. They're dumping so much money. They're buying up land for build to rent instead of purchasing actually existing homes. And they've got a ton of those little communities going. And then Tampa is another one, and Atlanta, they're just dumping all that money. Look at that.
Here we are in Charlotte. This is my neck of the woods. And I went actually earlier today, I was driving by a community, brand new community, had about 250 homes, all for rent. Built to rent.
For rent.
Like, hey, come rent this brand new home.
Their rent, the quote was, the guy from Tricon said, well, we feel like we're giving people the American dream. I mean, we're just, you know, they can have it now through us. And, you know, you don't have to worry about the maintenance and everything. You know, most people are riddled with debt and swimming in debt. And, you know, home prices have gone up exponentially. So now you can rent the American dream. We're giving them the American dream by renting it. Like you dude are seriously some kind of evil. Like, that's gross.
That is one way to twist and turn
the narrative.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's change it up. If you read the snippets of these rent to own communities, it really seriously makes you want to barf. And then they got the person, they're throwing the ball, one person's flipping burgers. I mean, it's so cliche. I'm like, that is so gross. So gross. And you can put up another question, but yeah, these are some of the top 40 metro areas. This is from the Washington Post. You get to see who's, you know, here's the thing though. If you wanted to buy some property, this is a great little map for you to figure it out, you know?
Yes.
You know, if you were like, hey, where are they just starting to buying some homes? So you could buy like a property there and kind of like be in the area if you're looking for an investment, you know. Most of us, that's what the other thing is. People say, well, small investors own more than these big investors. I'm like, but wait a minute. The small investors can't set market rate, right? Only the people that own the most properties can sell. Like a group of small investors aren't going to get together and say, hey, we're going to raise rents now to another 35%. And we're like, there's not a meeting of small investors. That doesn't exist. But there certainly is of the large investors. And they say, hey, let's go ahead and bump up these prices up. But then of course, to be in line with the bigger investors, the small investors are like, hey, we can get an additional 35%, you know?
That's the thing. And how do you feel about
we did. We just reduced our rent.
Nice. I was just saying, how do you feel about when you do see that, when you see the big time investors or whatever increasing the rent and getting it? And
I feel bad for our younger generations because they're so strapped. Because if you look at how much they're actually spending just to live, they're having a really hard time. Like they have no money left. They have very small amount for savings. God forbid if anything happens to them, because they'll be financially ruined. A lot more people, what we would in our 20s, I don't know how old you are, but in my 20s, when we were growing up, like you moved out of your parents' house, you left forever. You know, you didn't go back. by the time that millennials came around, like that was like you kind of didn't have a choice. You had all this student loan debt and you were like trying to find stuff. And then the market went crazy. And like a lot of people were disenchanted with the whole idea of buying a house. Then when they got back in it, and again, they've become older millennials and they were like looking to buy again, homes got so expensive that it was out of their price range.
Yep.
So, and now look what there's being served. And that guy from Tricon flat out said, our business model is focused towards Gen Z and millennials. They're purposely serving it to them. HVA Ball says $5 with the $5 super chat. $5. Thank you so much for the $5.
Thank you, HVA Ball.
If you bought a house in the last decade, you likely have been paid to live in it based upon sales values. Was that a smart choice? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I feel like, my husband and I, we looked up the value of our house and I did some numbers. I mean, I don't know, gaining $100,000 in equity since the time we purchased it. I think 7 years. That's a lot. I mean, I think in our small little rural town outside of Baton Rouge. I mean, we're not even in Baton Rouge. We're in a little hodunkin town out of nowhere.
Definitely have been paid to live in your home. The home I'm in right now, we got in 2018, I believe, and it has gone up in value $250,000. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Can't beat it.
How old are you, Ashley?
I had to remember, I'm 38 years old.
I never can remember my age. I've been telling people I'm 50 for the last 5 years.
I am 38, so I am like the old millennial. I'm the right on the cusp. I'm the old millennial.
Oh, you're on the cusp.
Yes.
Dom's
vibranium bicep. Yes.
I got bicep right, but I'm not going to. My dyslexic butt was like looking at those letters going, wow, that's really hard. Okay. I'll tell you what was really frustrating to read and read in our last census, that they discussed how many vacant homes there are here in Florida. Do you know why? That is not private investors here in the United States. That is not the regular investors here. That is foreign investors. The vacant homes are foreign investors because they seriously do not care. They're just trying to dump their cash in stuff. And that's what they do. They dump it in real estate. It became such a problem in Canada. In some areas, they made it against the law to have your house vacant or you pay a penalty.
Oh, wow.
So then they started renting them because they had exponential amount of growth. A bunch of foreign investors came in, bought and priced up the market so high. And then all these vacant homes were sitting in like brand new neighborhoods. So they made it like in some areas, because, each like province or whatever is run individually. In some areas, you cannot have vacant homes. If they are vacant, you pay a fine. The investment company pays a fine for leaving it vacant.
No, there's so another thing that I guess since we talked about foreign investors a little bit, touched on it, is most people don't realize that as the interest rate increases and it knocks off some of the owner occupants that would be buyers, there's still a ton of investors just sitting on the sideline waiting. I know I'm salivating. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm one of them. So I'm one of them, and I know I've talked to a handful of others that, investors, only thing we're concerned with, but as long as the numbers make sense, we're ready to go. It doesn't matter if the price increase, if the rents cover everything and make it work. So a lot of people, while interest rates go up, yes, the demand for owner occupants will decrease, but you still have tons of investors and foreign investors at that, just waiting to take advantage.
Another thing that people need to be aware of is, even though people that would be getting a loan will be discouraged by this market, this market has been held up by a lot of cash. Like, I've seen more cash in this past 2 years than I've ever seen in my life. I didn't know so many people were sitting on banks of cash like they are to buy houses. So a lot of these purchases that you've seen, have been held up by cash. It isn't two loans. It isn't interest only loans. These are very strong buyers, and those same strong buyers don't give two flying flips what the interest rate is, because they're buying it cash. They could be 25% for all they care. They're still going to buy a house, and they're going to buy it cash. So.
I have some buyers from California selling their home. One in California, one in Colorado, selling their home, and they're going to come to Charlotte, buy a $400,000 or $500,000 home cash, and then looking to buy a second home investment property and get a loan out on that. So it's just they're solid buyers, and they're not concerned with interest rates. And I'm not going to say they're not concerned with the purchase price, but they're like, this is still a good deal compared to where I'm coming from. So
right. Yep. CC Moon says with a $1.99 super chat, thank you. He says, is it gross to think think what 2023 home prices will be? Is it gross to think what they'll be? I mean, honest to God, all of us are guessing. Even experts with massive degrees are guessing. We're guessing because at the beginning of like the end of December, they said home prices will not go up anymore. We're gonna flatten out. There's no chance that it's going, like we're starting to see the signs on the wall. Maybe 6%, maybe in some markets, in the hottest markets. Then literally 6 weeks later, they're like, we're gonna see 16% increase in some of these markets. We're gonna see like they totally blew it out of the water. Then at the end of December, the Home Builders Association said, we are very optimistic of what's happening in the market. We're going to be able to get more product out on the market. No, buyers aren't going to have to worry about waiting for their house to be built in 11 months. We're going to be back on track, maybe, 3 to 6 months again, like we used to be. They have dialed back all of that. I mean, nobody expected a war, who had that on the bingo card? Not me, like
I did not have that on the bingo card. One other thing I want people not to, fearmonger or anything, but I want people aware of, yes, interest rates are rising, home prices are rising. But when you talk about cost of living in general, I believe food prices are going to skyrocket in the next year as well. And that's going to have an impact on, when you're looking for a mortgage, like, okay, I can technically afford this much, but my food bill is now this much. So it's just, something you have to weigh out and everything.
And if you have gas, like natural gas in your house, that's going to go up because of, everything that's going on, so your electricity bill is going to be higher. Your gas bills are going to be higher. You're actually paying for gas to put in your car. You're paying more for food. I mean, the inflation affects everything. Boy, I could not get that out.
And everything. It is a tax on the poor and middle class. I mean, that's what I see it as.
Yeah. Because do you think the rich people care about inflation? They're like, whatever.
No.
Whatever. And they certainly don't want to pay you more. They're like, no.
The rich people, they get richer in inflationary environments and periods because they own real estate.
Yes. And you know what's so crazy? The craziest part too is like they talk about how they own so much more than, like the average person, of course. And so that these companies that are saying we are raising our prices due to inflation, they've been doing that, but they're also posting record profit. So it's really a scapegoat for them. They can say, well, we raised our prices because of the fact of inflation. They know it's total horse crap.
It is.
They're doing it because they can.
It's disgusting. And I think in the recent video, I told people, like, what if we all just stop buying? Just stop buying.
Good luck with that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Again, we're in a society where everything, you want stuff now. You got Amazon, you have your grocery stores, just pick up, deliver. But if you just stop buying and stop the demand and let the supply build up, they will have to listen to us. But we're not going to stop buying as a society. It's not going to happen.
If anything has taught me anything, we can't get people to do the smallest things without having an absolute stink. So that's not going to
work. You're infringing on my right to buy this expensive thing. So
exactly. For an overinflated price. Okay. Long story short, has with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. To add insult to injury, when the bubble breaks and we have a recession, we the taxpayer will have to bail out Black. We have Vanguard. That's I had put that as a blurb in my video and I cut it out, which was, when is a company not too big to fail? When do we let these people fall on their butts? But even if we were to scream at the top of our lungs, let them fail. You know what? We'll suffer for a couple of years just to let them fall on their ends. They are so embedded in so many different things, so many different aspects of our life. You don't even realize it. Most of them pay a lot of money for lobbyists and political campaigns and all that other stuff. So the laws that we would need to make sure that these people do fall on their rear end and like have to pay, they have to pay the piper. That's never going to happen because they're in bed with all of the other things that are weaved in there that I don't know. That's how all these narratives changed. Like renting is the new American dream. That's because these people are just literally woven into all these different companies. They're not going anywhere. It sucks.
You hit the nail on the head. My background is in politics.
I didn't know that. I thought you were an attorney.
Well, I was in politics before attorney, right? So I went to Georgetown, got a government degree, worked on the Hill, did stuff, have friends on the Hill, friends that are lobbyists, and people don't realize that all of that, as far as the Black Rocks to Blackstones, like, and your local politicians, like, it's all interwoven. It's in there. You're not getting away from it. They're not going to fail because they have money behind them to where they're going to get support. Unfortunately, until you get some transparency, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
we're going to continue to pay for it.
We need cellophane transparency. That's what we need.
Yes.
M.I. says, question, just sold a parcel. Congratulations. And almost ready to build tax assessment has tripled. I'll be appealing North Carolina. Any ideas? Oh, so I guess the tax assessed amount for the property has tripled, and you're
gonna appeal
it? About that?
I don't. I mean, I've had people appeal tax assessments. They haven't been successful, but
they are here.
They are, yeah. They haven't been, at least I'm not sure where you are in North Carolina, but in Mecklenburg County and Union County, I haven't had people be successful. But tripled seems quite excessive. So you might have some grounds there.
Yeah, there might be a clerical error. I didn't. There's a cap here. You can't raise people's taxes in 1 year, triple the amount. That's just.
Well, in North Carolina, and again, I was shocked I didn't know this. Georgia or Atlanta, you can get assessed every year. North Carolina, it's once every 8 years. So it's not like it's not gonna come out of nowhere. You can prep for it and everything. So
ours is not every 8 years. Man, we're fancy. I mean, they're so fancy here, the way that they do the tax assessment. So for instance, you were like, well, I don't have anything but my home. I don't got anything else. Well, they have drones that go up in the air they'll draw out the line. They know exactly when you put that damn thing up there, and you go ahead and put that back up. I didn't see that last
Harnett County.
Yeah, that's correct.
I say, definitely. I would say definitely appeal that because you're in an area right outside Fayetteville. I'm familiar with Fayetteville, not necessarily that county, but Fort Bragg, Hope Mills, Rayford, I'm familiar with. There's not as much growth in that county, Harnett County, to, in my opinion, justify your tax assessment being tripled. I can see maybe Fayetteville, definitely Wake County, which is north of you, but not Harnett County.
Do you know any good title attorneys that you could probably get a hold of that could help?
I do.
How can they get a hold of you to call Ashley, Sir Ashley there?
Reach out to me. A few. Chris Nixon and then Harry Marsh Law. That's the two on top of my head.
There you go. Question. I've seen a few articles and interviews now saying that either markets are is frothy. Ooh, like a
I like it.
cappuccino.
I had a
Or are
cappuccino
we
earlier today.
beginning stages of a bubble? Do you agree? I've seen a few articles now saying that either the market is frothy or we're at the beginning stages of the bubble. I think this is just my opinion.
Yep.
I feel like we have seen the top of the market. I mean, I don't know how long I feel like we've seen the top of the market. I don't know, and I could be wrong. I don't know how much longer it could go up in the way that it had been going up. I just, like I said, 6 months ago, that house that was sitting there, that 159,000, that was only a 2-bedroom, that, that would have gone snapped up before anybody even had a chance to think about it. And now it's been sitting there for 88 days. So,
I think, my opinion is it depends on the location. If you're,
I guess, yeah.
If you're in an area where there's an influx of people coming in, then no, you haven't. As far as whether there's a lot of jobs coming there, a lot of resources coming to that area, I don't believe we're at the top of that market. But just the general place in the U.S., I say at the end of this spring season, you'll start to see. Yeah, it will tell us a lot more. And I don't think, like many people think a bubble has to pop or a balloon has to pop. I don't think it will pop. I think it will be like a slow release of air. Like the housing market doesn't just pop. It takes, if you look at the last recession, it took 18 months to actually get to the bottom. So you'll be able to see what's taking place. It's not going to just happen all of a sudden.
Oh, we felt that the big crash the last time. We felt it was literally like someone turned off the lights.
Oh, wow.
It was exactly like that. So my husband and we had in our neighborhood at that time, we had bought our house for like 135,000. This was in Orlando. And the neighbor across the street had the exact same floor plan there. And I'm like, there's nothing special about their house. There was a line out the door, like all the way down. People were going, as soon as they put the for sale sign out, they had open house, and it was insanity.
Yes.
3 weeks later, there was another house that was a bigger, and it was for sale. They did the same thing. There was probably maybe 15 cars that pulled up. I said, Eddie, go find another job. This is about to go. This is bad. Like this is going to get really bad. Thank God we sold, because we would have went back to 135,000. It literally went all the way back down before it went back up again. And I don't know, like Brian,
it's going to be interesting because this next spring market is going to be, you have a lot of FOMO right now happening. And with interest rates increasing, you'll see more properties sit on the market longer. So that will increase some supply, but we're not going to be at normal levels. So it really just comes down to how in demand your area is.
On the market are going to sit on the market. Some of them that should have been never sold in the first place are going to sit.
Exactly.
Brian G says, when purchasing a half duplex, how do you deal with making sure the neighbors are or have termite protection plan in place so you have to protect the home and plan on purchasing? I don't know how like a duplex would work if the other person's owned on the other side, because you can only control what's on your side. I would just ask the neighbor, hey, look, I'm having, ABC termite company come out here. Have you had a termite plan done? If they say no, why don't we go ahead and do this together? So that way we're under the same roof. And then, try to work with the neighbors,
I recommend that. I definitely recommend that.
Here in Louisiana, it's kind of like it's the like dad joke of home inspectors. They always say there's two kinds of homes. There's either ones that have termites here in Louisiana or ones that are going to get them, because we are literally the prime vegetation for termites. They love it. Wow. They're like, ooh, nice soft wood. So nice and moist here. I can't wait to crawl up.
Crawl
through that soft ground, get past the mud bugs, and just chew on your house. Yeah, I get mine done every single year.
Definitely go in with your neighbors, even here in where I am, single family homes. But when we get stuff done, we reach out to the neighbors and try to get a discount rate. It just makes sense. Just talk to your neighbors.
I know, but the thing is, I think a lot of people are afraid. I don't know. There are some people I'm just afraid of. Some of my neighbors, I don't want to talk to them.
That
But
is true. That is true.
there,
That is true.
there's a reason why I shut my door and don't go outside. It's like,
Yeah.
B. Brown says, are credit-worthy buyers using down payment assistance seen as a risk to sellers? I personally would say they don't see them as a risk to sellers, but what the thing that's coming in is that there's another offer that's coming in where they don't have to have down payment assistance. So what they're saying is, well, this person doesn't have to go through an FHA or VA loan process. This person can get closed in 15 days instead of 45 days. So I'm going to take this offer that's offering me more money and a more solid loan package that's a more solid buyer. That's why most sellers take it. It's not because they're like, you're not credit worthy. It's just that they got a better offer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's less hoops for them to jump through as a seller. They have more security with the other buyer that doesn't use down payment assistance, because most of those programs put different overlays that the property has to meet certain conditions. And the seller's like, in this market, why? I don't want to deal with any of that. I don't have to. So that's why they may not choose that offer.
Mrs. CAM says, one more question. Look at the face. Look at the emoji. We are buying my husband's uncle's duplex. Should we get an inspection? Yes. The uncle and the husband thinks the property is awesome, and we don't need one. I disagree. I concur with you. For nothing else, just for your own peace of mind, just to know that everything in that house is in working operational order. Have a home inspector come out there. If you don't want to like hire a specific home inspector, have somebody that comes out there that inspects the AC, have someone that comes out there, inspects the roof, have someone that comes out there, inspects the plumbing, and pay those guys just to make sure that those main components that are very expensive are checked. But I strongly advise, in my personal opinion, for you to get a home inspector that checks everything, because they check outlets, they check, they turn on everything. They make sure all the panel is working correctly. And they can suggest at that point, like, hey, it does seem that there's water damage in the attic. You're probably going to want to have a roofing company come out here and assess how much that damage is going to be. But at least they know what they're looking for and it can assess it. I mean, they can do as much as like tell you if the insulation is thick enough in the attic and if you need a couple more inches of insulation. So just like, I don't know, it's like $500 a piece of mind as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, I concur. Anybody who's listening, do not buy a home without an inspection. Even if you put on an offer, no inspection, get your inspection, because you can always back out, right? Get your inspection because you want to know what you're getting into. I always get an inspection. It's the best $500 you can spend.
As far as I'm concerned, yep. Yeah. Cameron Lewis says, 2 of my favorite real estate analysts together. Thank you, Cameron.
Nice. Thank you, Cameron.
I had to beg Sir Ashley to get on here and I'm like, come on, man. No. Oh, wait. Hey, I didn't finish. Began following you earlier in 2021 when I started my home search, closed on my home in Maryland. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
In August of 2021. Thank you, Cameron.
Real quick, Cameron, what was your interest rate in August? Was it, because interest rates in August were around 2.7 nationally.
I was going to say, I think
2.773, right around there. So you won. You won.
You won the real estate war.
Yes.
Kelly Hahn says with the $5 super chat says, thanks for the lives, always informative and very super chat, by the way. Very first super chat. Oh, congratulations. I was the honorary person to get their very first super chat. You know what happens with the super chats is they actually go back to the channel. So all these things that you see, like, you don't even realize, but there's like all these different cameras, like all this, like this stuff and lenses and memory cards. These things go bad. Like you think, oh, I got this great card and everything. They go bad. Like I have like millions of them.
Quick aside, I was filming something and my memory card failed me. I went to go upload it, put it in my computer, nothing. And I was hurt. I was so hurt. So yeah, no, memory cards.
I've had that happen where I've recorded a whole entire. Have you ever recorded a whole entire video and for some reason apparently your microphone wasn't charged and there's no audio?
Yes.
There's been times if you ever see it on a Tuesday that a video does not come out, that's because that happened and I just said forget it. I quit.
Yes.
I'm just not doing it this week.
That has happened to me. I am guilty.
Mrs. CAM says, I can't wait to show my husband. He has an inspector as a client that will do it for a low price. Fantastic. It is the best money you'll ever spend. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You get a full report. You get a full report. And that way you know exactly what's wrong with the house. Are they going to find every little fine detail of something? No. A lot of times you find things afterwards because you're in the house, you're watching, you're working in the house. Like you're sitting on the bathroom toilet one day and you're like, well, this is a little looser than I expected, you know?
Yes.
And I'm not lying when I tell you this. I had an inspector tell me, well, it's loose. They're going to have to throw a penny underneath it. I said, excuse me? He's like, yeah, that's how they balance out the toilet. There's a penny underneath it.
Huh.
I'm like, what? Are you out of your mind? Sure. That is a thing here in Louisiana between some older plumbers. If the toilet is off balance and they have screwed it in all the way in, they just throw a stack of pennies underneath it so it doesn't rock anymore.
I'm going to have to ask my inspector if he knows that trick, if he heard of that.
The penny trick.
The penny trick. Because he's an older gentleman. He's like 70 years old. I'm going to ask him. Yeah, I'm sure he has.
You text me and let me know. Yeah, let me know about the penny trick. DH says, my home buyer's insurance protection is about to expire for my house I bought a year ago. Should I renew or never? I never used it. Oh, you're talking about a home warranty. Okay, yeah. That's going to depend on your home warranty company. My parents got Old Republic because I told them to. That's something that we use here. It's a very good warranty company. They had all sorts of problems that happened to their house. My parents are in their 70s. They had a pool pump and all sorts of things. That warranty company came out and fixed everything for my parents. It was worth it to them. But if you have the ability to do those kinds of things yourself, figure out how much it would cost you to repair it yourself. And it would cost you more to repair it yourself than it would for getting the home warranty company, then do that. I mean, it's like a trade-off. You do have to pay like a copay, like you would with your insurance. So there's a $75 fee for them to come out there to look at the problem. Then they have to assess the problem. Now I've heard nightmare stories with a lot of these warranty companies that say, they pay their little copay. They come out there, they say there's nothing wrong with it. And sure enough, by the time the warranty's over with, they get somebody else out there and they're like, this needed replaced 6 months ago. Yeah.
So even with warranty companies, they're going to bring their own people. I always, just like with the mortgage brokers, you get a second opinion.
Yes.
Get a second opinion and then present that to your warranty company. Like, hey, this is what was found. So you can always hold people accountable. I'm all about just accountability. So
I like me some accountability.
Yes.
David Wimberly with a $5 super sticker. Thank you. I wish I could pull up the sticker. I want to see the where's the coffee?
I mentioned this mug before we started on the chat.
And I sang to him, I said, I like big mugs and I cannot lie. And Sir Ashley confessed to me that he actually sang that in a talent show with backup dancers that were cheerleaders in his high school. I did listen.
That is a true story. It is some footage out there somewhere. My man Mike Z probably has it. But yeah, there's footage of me on stage at a talent show singing Sir Mix-a-Lot. So yeah.
Lawnmower says, FYI, if you're new to the channel, the coffee cup is normal size. Kristina is just very tiny. I'm not tall though. There is some truth to that. There is some truth to that. I'm only 5 foot. I think I'm shrinking. I might be 5'1". I'm around the 5 foot-ish area. But every time I'm around people, people are like, "You're so small." I'm like, I know. All right. Anybody have more questions there? Excuse me? Oh yes, here we go. I have both the earplugs in, and it's got that noise canceling, so I can't hear them in the background. Adventure Edgar says, question: with so many Californians migrating to other states, at what point will California home prices start to drop? That is the golden question.
That is the golden question. I love California, but prices are just crazy.
I wish I knew the answer to that, because I think there's a lot of like headlines of like mass exodus of Californians, blah, blah, blah. I think some of that, I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I don't think it's at the levels that they make it sound to like exist, because they've been talking about this for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And that, like, if it was at the levels that they were implying, they would have lost half of their population by now. I think for some Californians, they took their equity out with like a HELOC or something like that, saw that real estate was cheap in other places, and bought a second home in other, like, look, we have this $500,000 or $6 million home here. We'll take $1 million out of the equity we have in this house. We're going to go ahead and buy a house in, Miami and have a second home. I think that's what a lot of that is.
Yeah.
Oscar with a $4.99 super chat says, can I do an inspection if the seller will not turn on power or water? I have a 7-day option. I don't know how it works in your state. In our state, in order to have the inspection done, the inspector will not turn on the electricity. But if you want to have the electricity turned on in your name, you can. There is some liability to that, though, because if you turn on the water and the electricity, if there's a fire in the house, that becomes your responsibility, because you put the water, you put the electricity on in your name. If there's a flood from a water pipe that bursts, that becomes your responsibility because you turned the water on in your name. So just know that if you're going to do that, your inspection, that's here in Louisiana. How does it work in your area, Sir Ashley?
No, that is exactly the same. Exactly the same. I've in the past bought vacant properties. It's been vacant for quite some time, and I just, like I'm telling you, always get an inspection. So you might have to, invest to get the water turned on, get the electricity turned on. Again, it's worth it in the long run to get that turned on in your name, so you can conduct your inspection.
I used to have an inspector that used to have he'd have a generator. Yeah. So he would do like a, I don't know how he did it, but he'd run a generator so he could check all the things in the house and then turn it off. And that, especially even for the well and everything. But now you have to have that running, the well running, in order for you to get that certification, the water certification here in the area, septic certification. All right. This kid says, I love that name. This kid, do you think sellers will start to become more selective about who they sell to and favor first-time home buyers over corporations? No, absolutely not. No, no. Very rarely do you find a seller that's going to do that, because you got a guy that's giving you, here, you can have $50,000 cash on this side, or you can have, my offer right here where I want $3,000 in closing costs. Yeah. I can't, like, people say, I fault the sellers for taking that. Why would you, if someone is going to give you an additional $50,000 for your home, doesn't want an inspection, and you can move out in 15 days, you don't have to do anything but just move out. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't blame the sellers on that.
No, I don't blame the sellers either. And I don't see that happening. I have actually had conversations with sellers tell me initially, you know what, I don't want to sell to a corporation. I want to sell to an owner occupant, until they see the offers come in.
Yep.
Until they see the offer comes in, and then they're like, I could really do something with this additional $25,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. So a lot of money.
Initially, they had that mindset. They were firm of selling to an owner occupant, and they ended up selling to, not all of them, but let's say majority of them end up selling to an investor.
Absolutely. Ariel Joy Fine, $5 super chat, super sticker.
Yes,
super sticker. I wish we could actually put the sticker like on the screen instead of just that it was a super sticker. I want to see the little dancing dude, or the little winky face, or whatever the super sticker is. Serenity Cow says, question, do you agree that corporate investors buy newer homes in newer neighborhoods because it's easier to do price evaluations? Example, are there more corporate investors in Colorado versus New England? All right. The reason why corporations are not buying in New England over Colorado is it's not growing. New England area isn't a growing area. They have exorbitant amount of pricing, and industries are not going there because corporations in general, like your tech firms and everything else, are going to the South. So of course they're not. Why did investors invest in an area that is not growing industrially, like in some way, shape, or form? And that's where the Sun Belt is. That's where they're going to invest.
Exactly. And another reason why they invest in newer homes and newer neighborhoods is because, just like the average person, you don't want to buy a home that's going to be a money pit. If you're buying a newer home or a brand new home, getting it built from the ground, you know that you have at least, let's say, 10 years before you have to change the HVAC or the roof and different things like that. So you know that you don't have to dump any more money into it because it's or you have more comfort knowing that you should not have to dump any more money into it because it's a newer home or new home.
Well, according to that guy from Tricon, he's like, well, that's a lot of hassle. That's a big hassle to have to maintain a house. You don't really want to own it. You don't want to own a house. You want to rent it from us. Yeah. Dingleberry. Oh, he makes me so mad. He literally sitting there. He's sitting there like this. She's like, and he's wearing a leather jacket. Like, do you remember members only? This was like the equivalent of a leather members only jacket. And he's just sitting there just talking about these things like he's just renting the American dream. I'm like, dude, if you, he's so gross, so slimy. Michael says, any feelings about Boxable opening up a public investing yesterday? I saw that. Any thoughts on how Boxable and companies like that will make it help out with housing in the next decade? Okay, here's the thing. Boxable is a great product. I actually went to their factory. I physically touched it. I physically put it together. It is a fantastic product. I don't know how they can get as many houses that they need to get out on the market as of right now. They have one factory. They have a handful of people. We still have supply chain problems. This would have been rocking and rolling if the pandemic didn't happen. They're getting a lot of money. They're getting a lot of investments. They're getting a lot of people investing in it. But where are the houses? I love them. I think they're great people. I think they're good people. I think they have a great product. But it's like they're selling the investment before they have the product. It makes me nervous.
We saw other companies do it successfully, like Tesla, but then you've seen other companies like Rivian not be able to quite do it as well. So
there's been other modular home companies that were like slated to be the best thing since sliced Wonder Bread, and then sure enough, once it really got going, they folded in 6 months.
It's people don't understand the difficulty with scale. Mm-hmm. They don't quite appreciate what it takes to scale something. So
everybody's got a great idea. Everybody's got great ideas until you start putting them in action. You're like, well, maybe that wasn't as good as I thought.
Yeah,
that was really hard. Yes. Question. Logic 1611 says, my home went up approximately $35,000 last month here in Oceanside. Wow. Can you speak of the San Diego market? Give your take. What should I wait to sell, or should I sell this year? I know who you can call and talk to is Dan Parker. He has a channel here on the old YouTubes, right? Dan Parker. Reach out to him. He is the San Diego king. And I always give him a hard time because he always has the funniest face. I'm like, you're such a good guy. And he's like, stop it, Kristina. Don't do that. I always give him a hard time. He's such a cutie patootie. He's a nice guy too. Really smart. Have you ever talked to Dan?
I have not.
He's a nice dude.
I need to reach out to him.
Yeah. Got another question.
But about selling, my question would be, talk to Dan, but why are you selling? And where are you going?
Rents are high.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Your rent's going to be higher than mortgage.
Where are you going? So.
Yeah, you're smart. You're so smart, Sir Ashley. Question. What happens when no one can pay rent? When is enough enough? How can we stop these companies when democracy seems to be inefficient? Yes. Okay. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know how a renter could afford 35% increase because like I was looking at the statistics, they're spending more on just shelter than we ever have in history. As far as when our parents were, that was like, it was like, oh, half your check, then it became 75. Now it's like 75% of your check is shelter. That's not right. That should not be
No.
right. And it was like 20 to 30% when my parents were growing up.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
off.
that's what
It's
it
off
is. That's what
kilter.
it should be. It should be around 30,
Mhm.
35%. We've
Mhm.
become, we become flip-flopped to where it's 60%, 70%,
Greed,
which is,
glorious
yeah.
greed.
What will cause it to stop would be, I mean, in all honesty, it's harder to rent right now than it is to buy, in my opinion. But what would really cause it is if people really put their foot down and nobody kept renting. Like, I mean, just stop paying the price.
Reseller 7 says, why are you complaining about Tricon versus encouraging people to buy the stock, especially if they don't own a home? My complaint is I'm a real estate channel and they're taking the most affordable homes for the first time home buyers straight out of somebody's hand. One of the best ways for a person, most people that don't understand stocks and bonds and everything else, but they understand the tangibility of owning their own home. And they also understand that this is probably, for most people, the biggest investment they'll ever make in their life. But it's also something that causes them to have the best security. It becomes their retirement plan because it was something they got to enjoy, they got to live in, it was tangible. And at the end of their life, they had so much equity, they were able to retire or even keep their home or go somewhere else with that equity.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about stocks to most people, you're going, phew.
Yeah.
I'm not a stock. I'm not a stock education channel. I'm not a financial channel. I talk about real estate and what they're doing to the average home buyer is terrible. What they're doing to the average home renter is terrible, and they shouldn't be doing it, as far as I'm concerned. What do you say?
No, so I totally concur with everything you said, and I like talking money, stocks, and all that. However, again, we are talking about real estate, and to the average person isn't in the stock market.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, they're worried about housing and then just living day-to-day expenses. So no, I'm not going to encourage them to buy that one stock. I'm going to encourage them to get their credit right, save for a down payment, so they can put themselves in position to own.
The richest men in the world got rich, most of them, by one thing: real estate.
And
A
even if
lot
they
of them
didn't get
owned a lot of
rich,
real estate.
even if they didn't get rich by real estate,
Mhm.
once they get their money, where do you think they
Mhm.
park it?
Real estate.
Real estate, especially in these
Mhm.
inflationary times. They're
Mhm.
buying, there's a reason why all these investors are buying real estate, and the average person is having a hard time, because real estate secures value, maintains their value over time.
Offsets inflation.
Yeah.
Eddie, I missed that last comment. I don't know if there was a comment, but I'll go ahead and you may want to pull it up after I finish David Wimberly's comment here. It says, question, I'm at the end of my rope. How do I gauge how much to go over list? What are the risks of being a backup offer? I'm going to give my 2 cents and you can give yours. My question to you is, do you trust your real estate agent, right? If you don't trust your real estate agent, let me get you connected with one in your area.
Yeah.
Secondly of all, whatever your real estate agent says is going to be the thing that wins the bid, listen to that person. If you trust them, listen to them. Because if you've done bid after bid after bid, ask them specifically, what is it going to take for me to win this offer? And they know because they've been in this market now for over 2 years. And if you want to win it, listen to them. That's mine. But you can, if you don't like your real estate agent, I am connected with thousands across the country,
Yes.
including Sir Ashley here. Just go to my website at KristinaSmallhorn.com and fill out the referral form. You'll see a chat bot to the right. Do not use that thing. I hate it. You fill out the actual form itself.
Yeah.
That you just go like book a call or book a time with me or whatever, and it'll give you a referral form. Go ahead and fill that out, and I'll contact you. What was that
So,
comment beforehand? Eddie
yeah.
has something for him. Oh, look, there I am with my feet.
Nice. Nice.
There we are. So yeah, see, let's contact or book call here. And it literally takes you to the same place. It's actually to fill out the referral form, so that's it. But see, on the right-hand side, there was that stupid chat bot. I hate that thing. It doesn't give me everything I'm supposed to get. I get these weird messages and I don't know. They think that they're talking to me and it's just some random robot. And I don't know how to take the stupid thing off. Oh, this is it.
Okay.
This was the comment that we missed. We can't afford to buy stock when our money is going to rent. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Boom.
And
smart.
And I'm encouraging you all to, if you're renting, right? Or I'm encouraging to buy a home sooner than later. And then also like rent rooms in your home if you feel comfortable doing so, to be able to offset some of your bills. And it's more so what we don't have that was prevalent years and years ago is a sense of community. And certain cultures here in America still practice where they go in on a home and buy it together. I say whatever you need to do to sacrifice to get on the property ladder, do so. Because as we've seen, your landlord isn't going to care. The government's not really going to look out for you. You want to be able to secure your monthly payment so where it's not going up drastically every single year.
Jacqueline French has a question for you, my friend. Sir Ashley, do you think buying in Durham is better for a diverse community than Charlotte? I want to move to North Carolina from California.
Yeah. Come on from California. It really depends on what kind of diverse are you looking for, because Charlotte is quite diverse. It's just might be a little older of a crowd. Durham is more presently. It's younger, more hippie. Charlotte.
Are you saying they're pot smokers? Are they dope heads?
They are
hippie dippy.
Yeah.
They're crazy kids.
Crazy kids. So that's more what you're going to get in Durham. And in Charlotte, you're going to get a diverse crowd as well, but you're going to get more of a professional crowd, because the diversity comes in sense of you have more doctors because it's a healthcare capital, and then you have more bankers as far as diverse bankers and everything like that. So you have more diversity as far as education and cultures. In my opinion, I used to live in Durham. You have that here in Charlotte more so as far as an older generation of that diversity than you do in Durham.
I guess, yeah, it's just what is your version of diversity, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's kind of like affordability. All the time I'll say, well, this is affordable. They'll be like, that's not affordable. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Eddie, can you pull up that super chat that came up? There it is. It says, you guys don't get it. As long as a long-time investor in California real estate, buy Tricon stock or REIT if you want to make money in real estate. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But my channel is what I was trying to explain is about purchasing real estate. Most of the people that watch my channel are trying to purchase a house. They do not want to buy stock. They want to save their money to buy a house. I completely get what you're saying. And yes, it does make sense to your head, but most people want to tell you to pound sand because they just want their own house. That's just
so Reseller 7. If you go back to the first live stream of 2022 with me and Kristina, it was the first weekend, right? The first Sunday of 2022. I actually talked about REITs and investing in REITs and how it is a very good idea, and I love it. But for the average person, that's just not what's on their radar. And when
you talk to the go ahead.
No, so I love REITs. I think it's an excellent opportunity, and depending on what sector that REIT is investing in, tons of growth in the last 3 to 4 years. But we're talking to the average person that wants to buy a home. Yes, you can do both concurrently, but I don't want to start confusing people.
Right. And a lot of times when REITs first came out and I was explaining it to some people, they were like, so I don't get it. So there's this apartment and I only own a cabinet or a drawer and a cabinet in an apartment. I don't get it. Why would I want to do that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's kind of like you own part of the whole thing, I don't know. It's so over people's head because that is one thing I can say that I hate for my kids is that they never got an accounting class. Like they never got a economics accounting class. And I almost feel like it's by design, honestly. I think they just want to keep people broke as long as they can. But
to piggyback on that real quick, I know we got a question to get to. So the schools in the 70s really did us a disservice. They took out the trades out of the school. And in addition to that, we don't get the different life skills that I believe they should be teaching us, whether it be an accounting class, balancing a checkbook, like whatever it is, like normal basic stuff to prepare you for society and to thrive in the real world. They haven't taught us that, and they took out the trades out of schools, majority of schools, because they want you to go to college, which I'm a proponent. I believe in college. I went to law school and all that, but it's not for everyone. And a lot of solid people earn their living by learning a trade, and they can never take that from you.
Well, and we got caught with our what they proverbial pants down when all this pandemic happened because we didn't have enough people that knew the trades. We were like, wow,
If this has taught us anything, is that we as a country are too reliant on foreign manufacturing and everything, to where we're not producing and manufacturing things here, even our drugs, to where we're not dependent on the rest of the world. And then the same goes for trades and life skills. So that's one thing I believe we have not, we're lacking, we're severely deficient in.
My kids were never even taught about budgeting. My kids know about it because of me, but they never were taught about how to control a budget.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Shane Jones says, question, do you think that with the amount of corporations buying homes in Florida, do you think that eventually the state will have to penalize them with all the vacant homes? Are you joking? No way. Florida ain't going to do anything. As long as money, it keeps flowing into the Florida bank there. No way. No way. Nope.
Not happening.
No. Nope. That political wheel is totally greased by corporations. There's going to be no penalties to corporations for buying homes. That's for sure. My closing of new construction will be in June, last week of 2020. My closing of a new. Okay, let's try this again. My closing of new construction will be in June, last week of 2022. Is it worth locking an APR in the last week of April, which is free, if I lock within 60 days before the Fed next meeting? What is your opinion on this? I'm not even gonna touch it. But what is your opinion?
I believe you should lock sooner than later.
That would be my feeling, but I'm not gonna.
No, I believe, and again, I'm in this similar boat right now. I told you before we joined that I'm closing on a home tomorrow. And we're debating on locking, we should lock and everything like that. No, lock sooner than later. Nobody expected or nobody foresaw all the events that have taken place. And the Fed has already telegraphed what they're going to do. So lock sooner than later, but also talk to your mortgage broker and see if you can float down. A lot of times you might lock in at a certain rate, but if it goes lower, you might be able to take advantage of the lower rate. But if it goes higher, you're capped at that locked rate. So just have a conversation with your mortgage broker.
Just make sure you like them. Thomas Taylor says, question, after we sell our home and we'll need a year.
I'm lost right there.
After we sell our home, we will need a year to.
I don't know.
Maybe just analyze everything. We'll need a year to kind of chew on it, like we're going to sell our home and then we're going to feel out the market before we get in there again. That's what I'm thinking. 2, Maryland prices prediction that in a home APR predicts, please. Maryland price predictions. Yeah. I'm not in the Maryland market, but I know who is. You can go to Carolyn Gardner. You can go and see her channel. You can go to Malcolm Lawson. He's another one in Maryland. Check them out. They
both of them come highly recommended. I'm cool with both of them. I like them.
All right, let's see. Serenity Cow says, how do I find the home's corporate investors on my own area? I search my landlord's LLCs and the tax record. I don't get a list. Only if I get exact addresses can I find his properties. And that's one of those things like you have to dig, right? So if I see like one, let's just say Sunshine Realty, all of a sudden just seems like they bought a house here and they bought the house here. Then I go and see if they're who's on their board, if they have like, is it a big corporation or is this just a little guy that's buying like 35 houses, who's backing them? Where are they getting these deep pockets from? So I just start digging. That's all. You just have to. It's one of those things. Once you start going down the rabbit hole, it's like 3:00 in the morning, and you're like, they own so much. You just have to. It is one of those things. You have to go on the sites and see who's buying it.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to find because you're really going to have to peel back layers. And a lot of people, even like big corporations, do it as well. You have your, sister companies and parent companies and everything like that. But then where it really gets tricky is when they put the property into a trust. And you really don't know who owns it at that point because you don't know who is the beneficiary of that trust. Is it an LLC? Is it a corporation? It is a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Like when you said tricky, I always all of a sudden like my brain goes, it's tricky to rock you at the stuck.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's tricky.
I knew you were going to say
it. Tricky. I can't help myself. This is what goes on in my brain. Crow Homestead says, I have just sold a chunk of land to finance going off the grid. Fantastic. Good on you. I have a stack of cash left over. Well, that's nice, but not enough for a house. Aw. Any ideas on how to protect this against inflation? What would be your advice there?
I would say, where are they looking to? They don't have enough to in UK. Okay. My thing is right now, I'm telling people just because you don't have enough right now, I'm telling people to hold on to their cash. Keep cash ready. Hold on to it because the time will come to where you can take advantage of opportunities, and those who have cash will be able to slide right in and act fast.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I love the Game of Thrones.
Me too. Remember, hold the door. Hold the door. Hold door. Yes, yes. Hold the door. Hold door. That's it. Hold the money. Hold the money.
I say hold on to it right now. One of my mentors is like, keep the powder dry, just because there are going to be people that put their homes on the market that they aren't going to be able to sell the traditional way or get tired if the home sits on the market for 15 days or whatever and start accepting and looking at very creative deals and offers, which, as I said, I got a seller providing concessions recently, which would have been laughed at a year ago.
Red like wine again. I haven't seen you in quite some time. It's nice to see you. How will the new flood insurance rates affect home sales in areas that require flood insurance from mortgage companies? I live in flood zone city. Like if anybody knows anything about flood prices, it's here in Louisiana. And whenever the last flood rates came out, it was a real nightmare. They straightened it all out because there would be like houses, it'd be like $150,000 house, and they wanted them to pay $6,000 a year on flood insurance. So they were like, we'll just let this sucker flood. Like I'm not even gonna worry about it. This is all balanced out. There's always a knee-jerk reaction when new flood rates come out. It all balances out. They get it all straightened out, and then like it takes some time. And there's sometimes homes that were not in the flood zone, all of a sudden they become in the flood zone, and even though the houses have never flooded before, then they have to Loma that out. It's a process, but we know how to do it here in Louisiana. Just ask somebody. I'm sure a neighbor can walk you through the whole process. Sir Ashley, are you okay on time? We've had you here for an hour and a half. I know you got things to do.
I am okay on time. I mean, I am. I told you I'm closing on a home tomorrow. I am moving. I'm probably getting side-eyed from my family. Like, why aren't you helping pack?
Yes. I won't keep you here any longer. Like, if anybody needs to get a hold of Sir Ashley, he has I'm not even joking when this is no lie. I do not watch real estate channels. I honestly have a hard time stomaching most of real estate agents, but I love Sir Ashley. Eddie and I all the time. He was like, "Did you watch his video this week?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." Because you give out some fantastic information for your specific area. You have some great financial advice as well. If you haven't yet, jump over to Sir Ashley's channel. Make sure that you subscribe, hit that join button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of his content. He's fantastic. And it is about section. You can see how you can contact him, you know, like in the about section there you go, right? But next to the, so it has all his details. If you want to get his email address, you have to put in this. It will make sure that you're not a robot. You could view his email address and go over there, check them out. If you need a real estate agent in your area, you can always go to my website at KristinaSmallhorn.com and I will refer you somebody. If you leave your phone number, I will give you a call so we can have a little chitty chat. There you are. Yep. Book a call with me. Sir Ashley, thank you so much for spending your Sunday with me. And I want to thank it was over 530 people that entered the chat today. I want to thank all of you for spending the last hour and a half with us. And I want to say a special thank you to all of my moderators who make sure that the chat stays clean. We don't have a bunch of negative Nancy's and Rowdy Roberts going out on the chat. So I appreciate every single one of you. Everybody, you have a fantastic week. Sir Ashley, you want to say something before we go off the screen here? Real quick.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all your subscribers and people joining and chatting in. I appreciate you. I enjoyed myself. And since it was the beginning of the year, beginning of the second quarter, I think we just need to set it up to where the beginning of every quarter, I should be your first guest.
You could always do that. You
Yeah, I hear Eddie in the background. The beginning of every first quarter, I should be a guest.
Ariel Joy of Fine is now a member. Before we go, I'm going to let you guys into the secret. They're still sticking around. So I have a company that's reaching out to me. And I don't know how true this is because they've all reached out to me and they all say they make a bunch of promises, but who knows? But this could be a possibility. Yes. I should be getting a tiny house that will be delivered to my backyard and I will have a whole new YouTube studio. People that are members of this channel will get the behind the scenes stuff. Like I'm going to do a live stream just for channel members when the tiny house gets delivered. I love it. I'm promising you guys that, but I don't know how true of what these people are saying. This will be the 5th time that some companies reached out that said they were going to deliver a house and unpack it in front of me. I've yet to have seen this happen, but this one sounded more legit because they were like, they got plat maps, they're pulling permits and all this other stuff. So this feels real. Feels real.
I love it.
So anyways, thank you so much for the new channel member. Thank you, Sir Ashley. Thank you, moderators. Thank you. Thank you, Eddie Smallhorn, my husband.
Yes, thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie.
Moderator in the back. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Eddie's going to do a little music on the way out. You got to dance your way out. Are you going to dance? You dance?
I am.
You can do this? You can dance if you want to.
I can do a little.
Leave your friends behind. You're going to just like a little. What was it? What was this? Remember? You can do this. What was that? Night of the Roxbury?
Yeah, Night of the Roxbury.